In my personal view, we need to bring the technicians in these data solutions, because at the end of the day, let's make no mistake, the site manager and the lead tech at the site will be the ones who have to manage the wind farm. For what I've seen so far, we have done a fantastic job in, one, collecting the data for now almost more than 20 years. We are developing the tools to be much more relevant in how we analyze the data. Now we need to be able to produce data that is useful for the technicians, not just for engineers.
What I guess I haven't seen in the US market is the equivalent of like the offshore Catapult and what they've done in offshore operational output and all the different variables within there. But then, you know, most of the utilities are unwilling to collaborate and share that information, especially if it reflects on particular manufacturers or it reflects on them. So I think it's kind of understanding what data sets people are willing to share and then what do you do with those afterwards. Because again, in terms of improving professional asset management, they could be a really powerful training tool for a lot of the wind techs, and they could help improve the strategy for the entire industry. But it's about sharing that intellectual property. So there's a lot of value in them, but I think there's still some obstacles to overcome.
Well, I'd see it getting better and better. So just from this, again, great conferences, we had a couple groups talk about data. It hasn't changed the same conversation. There's so much data. What do you use? I think now by ping-ponging the information or just sharing and collaboration between just peers, before no competition, say that again, the Gamesa Siemens deal, they're forced to talk now because now they merged and became one. Vestas acquiring, you know, the Upwind Solutions company. A lot of data shared where they both had their own type of strategies, but the data didn't change. So what are they looking at? And as now an owner growing up through the OEMs, not knowing what they're looking for, we knew what we were looking at, and sharing that now with the owner side, it's sort of a different way to we look at revenue, and they're focused on availability, a lot of the contracts. It's a different know-how. How do we make that mixes stuff that we try to strategize for future?
Well, we're just sort of getting the tip of the iceberg on the data front. We're getting some useful data now where we can help react quicker and do that, but we still need some of the value propositions to become realized. And by that I mean we need the costs of some of the new data initiatives to be justified by the outcomes. So there's real promise there, but I think there's a lot of work to get there for us who face some pretty challenging operating environments. We're going to have to see how that value proposition, that cost evens out.
Well, here in the U.S., what I've seen over the years is you had one of two things. You either had a company that was really into the data and they were driving hard, they were data-driven companies, looking at how they could look for the small efficiencies that drive big turnaround or big profit. And then you had the other companies that really didn't look at data. And even at this conference this week, one of the big topics is how do we use our data to get better? And I think most companies now have gone out and looked for a data solution, either externally or internally. They've developed one, and they're driving themselves to analyze the data and then take it to the field and see something from it. A lot of times we had the data, we just didn't do it.